If you will label your paper one-step equations, multiplying and dividing integers, and this is 7EE4. Don't forget to date your paper also. A quick reminder that you're going to use the inverse operation on both sides. So on the first one, it asks you to multiply 5 times C, which is equal to 40. So I'm going to rewrite my problem, and I'm going to write 5C equals 40. And I'm going to circle my variable, because remember that I want to get the variable by itself. I'm going to bring down my wall, because whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. And I'm going to put my equal sign. And then I'm going to notice that it's asking me to multiply 5 times C. And I'm going to do the inverse of multiplication, which would be division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Because remember, you always want to get your variable by itself. So you always do whatever is with the variable. 5 divided by 5 cancels out. And it leaves you with C. And 40 divided by 5 leaves you with 8. And then I'm going to box in C is equal to 8. Now, we believe this is our solution, but can we check it? Yes. Remember, you can always check it. So I'm going to take and plug this 8 back in where the C is. And I can say 5 times 8. Does it give me 40? Yes. And if this solution is the same to this solution, then I have a true statement. I'm going to remind myself that I need to use the inverse operations on both sides. And I also notice that this expression looks a little different. It has negative 54 equals 6x. So it looks backwards, but we're going to do it the exact same way. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite negative 54 equals 6x. And then I'm going to circle the variable, because remember, that's what I want to get by itself. And then I'm going to bring down my wall, because that reminds me that whatever I do on the right-hand side of the equal sign, I have to also then do on the left-hand side. And I'm going to write my equal sign. And then I notice that this says 6 times x, because remember, anytime you have a variable next to a number, which is called a coefficient, that means to multiply. So it says 6 times x, so I'm going to divide then by 6 on both sides. And this 6 cancels this 6 out. And what happens is it actually 6 divided by 6 equals 1, but 1 times x is the same thing as x. So I'm going to bring down my x. And then I know that 6 goes into 54 9 times. And is that my answer? No, because I noticed this right here. We have a negative. And if I go back to my rules for negative numbers, I know that a positive times a negative gives me a negative. So if I have, the same thing goes for division. If I have 6 divided by a negative number, then my answer has to be a negative. All right, and then I'm going to box it in, and I'm saying that negative 9 is my solution. And can I check it? Yes. So I'm going to plug this 9 back in right here where the 6 is. And I'm going to say 6 times negative 9. And I know that a positive times a negative gives me a negative. And 6 times 9 is 54. And then remember, if this answer and this answer are the same, your answer is correct. All right, the last example I have, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite. And it says C divided by 4 is equal to negative 8. And I notice that this is C divided by negative 4, but I want to go ahead and circle my variable because I want to get it by itself still. I'm going to bring down my wall, and that reminds me whatever I do on the right-hand side, I have to do to the left, or whatever I do to the left-hand side, I have to do to the right. Going to go ahead and put my equal sign. And that says C divided by 4. So I'm going to do the inverse operation, and the inverse operation for division is multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides, multiply both sides by 4. And on this side, it cancels each other out, and so you're left with C. And on this side, 8 times 4 gives me 32. And a negative times a positive is a negative. And I'm going to go ahead and box that in because I feel like that is my solution. And now I'm going to check and make sure. So if I plug 32 in here, and I say, negative 32 divided by 4, I know a negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 4 goes into 32 8 times, which gives me negative 8. This last slide is for you to try on your own, these 3 examples, and then I gave you a little challenge. I will give you one hint to the challenge. Remember the distributive property. Also, I want to remind you that a negative times a negative is going to equal a positive, and a positive times a positive gives you a positive. A negative times a positive gives you a negative, and a positive times a negative gives you a negative. Good luck, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow.